trying to get the freaking live stream going before I shit myself. Now my dog looks like he's gonna shit himself. Ah! Oh my god. I just need a minute to recover from that. I think Jeff Sessions was up my ass obstructing justice. Oh, and by the way, justice is what I call my shit. I go in there and I dispense justice. Justice, plop. Justice, plop. No, I'm just kidding. That is only for the purposes of this joke. It ain't funny. Anyway, there's only one thing to do when Jeff Sessions is up your ass obstructing. Send in the Mueller probe. See, it was an actual joke with a punchline and everything. And a Mueller probe is what I call my bomb. I don't know. I still like making jokes about having a bomb. Because those were good times, let me tell you. The 90s. Maybe up to 2000. Just 2000. No, maybe early 2001 at the latest, though. I no longer had a bomb once I moved to South Dakota. And I never had one since. Yes. Mueller probe. The name of my fictional bond for this joke. Which, you know, a pothead will laugh at, because what I used to use pot for was to help myself shit. Have a nice little coughing fit, relax, works its way out. See? Is that too much information? I'm pretty sure that's too much information. Anyways, moving on. Slowly downward. I mean, no, never mind. Sorry. Well, enough with the jokes. Got some work to do. And, let me go ahead and share the stream. Status is not a duplicate. Twitter sucks. So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. Feel free to say hello in the chats. And if it's your birthday, happy birthday. If it's not your birthday, well, that explains why you don't have anything better to do than watch the LiveStream channel. But that's okay. Anyways, let me turn my hat into a little yarmulke. There we go. Kind of just disappears, doesn't it? Okay. That's better. Logo off the screen. So this morning, I noticed we were still streaming. Just sitting here on the fish tank on mute. And I didn't quite realize that it was still streaming. So that's interesting. Glad it was on mute. My wife and I had some interesting moments on the couch this morning. That's all the detail I'll give you. Dingo, stop chewing your ass. And now yelling has made my jaw hurt. That's good. So glad I can't afford dental work. Thanks for ripping me off again, YouTube. Just thanks. So, today we're going to be talking about aquarium setups. Because I know some of my viewers are thinking about setting up new aquariums. And there's a lot of easy ways that are expensive. There's some easy ways that are cheap but inadequate, and also difficult to upgrade from the point that they give you. You know, you get an all-in-one box of an aquarium. That's the aquarium that you get. Okay. But it saves people trouble because, you know, you go out, you buy the one thing, you expect it's got everything that you need, but it doesn't. So this video is designed to hopefully help someone interested in setting up a new aquarium. And this is a 30-year veteran in the hobby, now clownfish breeder, hopefully one day general mariculturalist. And I think I've basically figured out the easy way. And what you'll find in this setup, similar to what you're looking at, but, you know, I have different purposes for things that you don't need to worry your precious little head about. Similar to this setup, but very basic in its inception and expandable, suitable to the needs that arise as you get your feet wet in the hobby. So you can start out with basically one tank and a 42-inch stand, and you're ready for a sump, and you're ready for a quarantine setup, or you're ready for a seahorse tank, and that's, you know, the things that people wind up wanting to do once they get their first tank. You might as well make room for it now. Okay? Nobody should be setting up saltwater fish tanks without a quarantine, but people do it all the time. Living in the country, cats in and out of the house, dogs allergic to fleas. Mind numbing. Anyway. Oh look, no flies in my coffee. How about that? So, I'm attempting to find a graphic which is going to illustrate for you some basic principles behind your basic aquarium setup, and go ahead and show you the differences between a typical setup and what most people have, and then discuss the differences between this and my setup and what I'm recommending for you. And I may even open up MS Paint and draw out a diagram of the setup that I have on the video camera, just to simplify things. So, let me get this in the right place here. Oh, look at that. It kinda almost fits. So, we've gone into this before, but I didn't actually have the setup to show you how nice it looks. I mean, come on. Granted, I don't have matching lights on them, which I recommend, at least matching looking lights. I just have the crappy hood on that one over there. That's because as a hospital tank, you want to be able to adjust your lighting and have like a dim light bulb in there, as opposed to a bright strip of LED lights. But if you can find a glass lid for it, you can always slide paper towels underneath the glass or block off part of it between the light and the glass, not underneath the glass, because then it would be in the water. Anyways, let me just see if I can adjust the camera a little bit, y'all. Need to lean left, need to lean to right. Oh, wrong way. Lose it. Okay. There, that's better. Alright. And a little more centered. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So, the basic theory of this, an initial setup. This stand is 42 inches long. I kind of call that wide. You know, deep and wide. Sunday school, anybody? So, 42 inches this way. Alright. It is 14 inches deep, or wide. So, long, wide. Okay. There's artist perspective, there's the Sunday School song, and then there's aquarium terminology. None of them agree. Okay. Well, yeah, furniture terminology, yeah. Cabinetry terminology, I guess. Laugh at me. Okay. Remember who I am. It's pretty funny to see me being a dumbass when it all comes down to it. Should be reassuring for when you're a dumbass, because we're all dumbasses sometimes. I just do it on LiveStream for your amusement. Anyways, this is a pretty simple construction, and it's very heavy duty, but not that much of a pain in the ass to move around. But I still recommend two people to move the stand by itself, because it is heavy duty. Vertically, I have one chopped into 3 segments 2.5 by 12. That big fucking cheap brown beam that you can get at Home Depot. Vertically. In front, this faceplate, and it's good for aesthetics. That is a 1x4. You can use a 1x5, but at least a 1x4. Okay. What you want is enough room underneath it to be able to work on the 10 gallon. See this space right here. Then you use two 1x7s across the top and drill them down into the central beams. Okay, and this all becomes a boxed frame support structure. A 20 gallon can be held, if you just want to put a 20 gallon on top, can be held with a 2-inch cross beam, 2-inch face beams. That's in front and in back. This one right here is in front and in back. Okay. But you want to go to 4 inches just in case. Okay, 4 inches gives you a lot of wiggle room. A 29 gallon, you only really need 3 inches. But my dog is trying to ruin my video. Oh well, I still love it. Alright. This 1-inch board across it. See, it's just got that nice little lip to it. 7 inches on one side, 7 inches on the other brings you out to 14. Okay. Now, your 29 gallon is going to be 13.5 inches deep. Your 20 gallon is going to be 12 3/4 about. Okay. But you know, you might find them smaller than that. But I would still recommend 4 inches, 14 inches. Because if you ever get tired of your first tank, your 29 gallon, you can fit a 55 gallon aquarium on this stand. And with the 4-inch cross beams, it'll hold it. Now, what you're looking at is a 29 on top. Okay, my hard coral reef is, yes, I say hard coral, not SPS, because I learned this shit in the 80s. Well, that's a 20 gallon. It's set up very bonsai to look bigger than it is, but it's a little 20 gallon. This is a 29 gallon, and as you can see, I've got a divider about 2/5 away from the right side over there. Two sevenths. And I got a flower pot in there, or 2 flower pots in there, and a flower pot down here. Ignore the flower pots. That's for clownfish breeding. You can have a clownfish, you can have flower pots if you want to keep clownfish. Okay. But breeding is not for beginners. And you don't expect to breed on a budget and be able to make money off of it. That's something you have to scale up very seriously over a long period of time and know how to market. Okay. That takes long-term planning. But if you want to get a pair of clownfish and just have them happy, let them lay eggs just because it makes them happy. Just because it's fun, just because it's cute. And the other fish in the tank will occasionally get a treat. And so will all the worms and crabs and everything else that you have in there. Oh, it'll just be a feast. Because most of them die just pretty much immediately. They get blown around by the current and just get shocked. Anyways, clownfish breeding, if you were to write an accurate book on it, it would be basically 1,000,000 ways to kill a clownfish, and it would just be a warning of them. This will kill it. This will kill it. This will kill it. Don't do this. It'll kill it. Don't do this. It'll kill it. Don't do this. It'll kill it. Don't do this. Because it's just the most delicate process. You know, it's like fucking nuclear science. You know, you're handling radioactive material basically. That's how fucking delicate the shit is. Only you don't die, the fish die. Slight jolt. Anyway. I have a box that I want to show you. A prop, if you will. 1 second, please. I currently have a bunch of CDs in it. Or DVDs, whatever these things are called. Pretty sure they're not CDs. This is an overflow box. This particular one is an Eshops. Where's the Eshops on that? Eshops PF Nano. Okay? And what this guy does, it provides a siphon from a top tank down to a bottom tank. They can be had for about 50 bucks. Shit. Shop around, might get one for $39.99. Maybe even cheaper if you're luckier than me. 40 bucks ain't bad. 40 bucks ain't bad, considering the world of possibilities that opens up. Then you get yourself a return pump. Let me see if I have a box for a prop for that. Oh, I'm sure I have the box somewhere. Because as my wife was complaining to me earlier, I don't like to throw away boxes. Within a box. But you know what? One of these will fucking work. So I will use this for demonstration purpose. I'll use all 3 of these. Okay. This is called a power head, and a return pump generally looks like a power head sitting on its side. Okay? You want your return pump to be in one of the 2 bottom tanks. Future possibility that opens up. Then you can have your overflow box siphoning down to the bottom. You can have the tank being replenished by a refugium set up on the right. Okay, that's a basic version of this, where you have a return pump that's shown with this little black box on the bottom right, and it provides return flow shown in blue back to the top tank, and that little eShops overflow box is kind of just the green outline thing right there, and that provides siphon flow back to the bottom shown in red. Okay? You can do that per side, just you have to pick one side. You can do it for both sides if you're really clever, but that's just unnecessary bullshit. Which, of course, I'm going to do one day, just because it's a thing that I do to torture myself. Anyways. But let's not focus on that just yet. I want to talk about the initial setup. Just to start out, you got the stand. Okay, I just wanted to get the reasons for building this extra space. Sump, quarantine, future 55-gallon, okay? And all you need to start with is really a 10-gallon, 20-gallon, 29-gallon. Wait for the $1 per gallon sale. Dollar bill, y'all. Get you a fucking tank. Okay. Now let's go ahead and put it over to Larry, since nobody wants to look at my ugly old rotifer-culture. Larry is in this little blacked out tank. You might see him swimming by the front glass if you see the yellow. You just see yellow go across there. That's him. I need to brighten his light a little more in 1 second. Time to wake up, Larry. Good morning, sir. In a little while, I'm going to have to get to cleaning and feeding these fish. Well, cleaning their tanks, not cleaning them. Feeding them. Hopefully. And not just their tanks. Been lobbing food in the bottom ones. Just trying to get them to eat better. Okay. So, there are two main components of a successful, if you'd call it, nano reef. That's what the kids are calling it these days, is a nano reef. Alright? And if you want to spend a lot of money and have something modern and chic in your living room, don't make it your first tank. Okay? You want to go buy a fluval setup or a JBJ setup? Okay? Fluval's the cheaper one. Good, reliable stuff, but you need upgrades. JBJ's got the really nice looking complete setups. And there's a few other brands I'm not too familiar with, but that's what comes to mind, the ones that I usually use and the one that happens to be the hat I'm wearing. Nice hat, JBJ. They don't sponsor me or anything, you know, I'd have to have, like, views for that. Well, okay. So this is a wave maker, also called a power head, but it's a wave fan circulation pump. Okay. I call it a wave maker pump. Generally gets the idea across no matter who you're talking to. Just want a little wave maker pump? Or a wave maker fan? Call it a fan. Because that's basically what it is. It's a little fan that sits in your water. Okay. And I have one facing that way. Right there. See? In the top left of the 29 gallon. This is the main source of current and oxygenation and biological filtration for the entire tank. So what you want to do is at least get one of these that's big enough to circulate all the water in the tank. Okay? Or you can get a little timer set up. ranging about $150 to $300, okay, which is more than I like to spend, which is why I don't have one. And you can set these up to provide contrary motion to each other. But I made the mistake of thinking that if I'm going to buy multiple ones, I don't need to get that big a one, and I'm about to have to upgrade the ones on my reef. It's just not providing enough current, and I have too much rock in there, so I need to upgrade the tank. So that's something to keep in mind. The more rock you have, the bigger and more overpowered you need that fan to be. I consider this tank to have a lot of obstructions in it, which is why I have a CP3 on there, which this is the CP2. I'm only running one of these in my 20-gallon reef, and I'm running 2 CP1s. I should be probably running 2 CP2s or 3 CP2s, if not maybe 1 CP3 in there. I'm thinking about adding a CP3 to that. And that way I can have basically kind of like a calm current and then a whoosh wave going the other way. Okay? Well, that wave action helps stir up debris, helps keep corals extended and happy. Okay, what you'll find is the most interesting motion occurs once one powerhead, I'm calling powerhead because that's the quickest term to use in this sentence. Don't ask me. When one powerhead goes off and the other one turns on, okay, there's this little point where the corals all start to go like this, they just rock slowly to the other way, and then the current finishes taking them and they lean all that way. Okay, and you want to time it to where they just kind of lean for a little while and then it stops, and then they just kind of rock and bounce back the other way. Whee! And you get your glove polyps, your leathers, your Kenya trees, xenia polyps, anything with any kind of wavy look to it, it'll all be sitting there doing that when the waves change. And if it's not doing that, you don't have big enough pumps. You need to get bigger ones. The other key component, as far as filtration goes, as far as water quality goes, a protein skimmer. Okay, this is the cheapest possible protein skimmer that I've known of for a very long time. There are a lot of different off-brand things going on, and right now I haven't tried any of those, but you can find them on eBay and try them if you want to. Otherwise, you can pay $35 to $40 shipped for a Rio nano skimmer. Okay, and just a little bit of finagling, a little bit of tinkering. This is a good skimmer. Works pretty good for a small setup. Now, it's going to cause micro bubbles, which you might hate. Okay, if you do, that's motivation for you to get your sump, because then you can put your protein skimmer on your sump, and then later upgrade the protein skimmer. And hey, look, I got an upgraded protein skimmer, I got a sump. It's time to buy more fish. Then you can set up your quarantine. You got a protein skimmer for the quarantine. Huh? Hey, look, there's a quarantine right there. And that very protein skimmer is on it. My mind is blown. I'm trying to add some kind of energy to this video, because, man, I just have a feeling that some of my people are going to be setting up saltwater fish tanks soon. So it's my responsibility as their freaky fish hobbyist friend to, you know, make a video that give them the whole gist of the shit that, you know, their wives can watch while they talk them into it or whatever. I don't know. So, $25, $28 shit. $35, $40 ship. $40, $50 ship. $50, $80, $80 maybe. $80 will get you if you shop for a Rio return pump. $80 will get you some powerful shit. I think I spent $40 on mine, actually, my return pump. And it is powerful enough to power both of my top tanks. So you want to get plumbing with a valve on it. And I will go ahead and stand up and show you all that right quick. Let me configure the cameras. Really need to move that down. Okay. Getting hard to manage with the little menu at the bottom there. Got too much shit on it. Okay, so basically, if I can get the wire to extend long enough, let me crank it up some. I have a big mess because I just, this is like my workspace here. Now I'm cranking. Oh wait, that doesn't help. The fucking wire's attached to it. Good job, dumbass. Maybe if I move it around in there. Alright, that's as close as I can get you. So, you go to Home Depot, and this can be found in the sprinkler section. It screws together, and you can use a little bit of Teflon tape on the inside, and you're good to go. You can also line it with silicone, and then twist it in. Still good to go. Just don't expect it to cycle too quick if you have antibacterial, antifungal treated silicone. Which is why I use Teflon tape. This valve right here, also in the sprinkler section or on the basic plumbing aisle, get one that screws in, and that regulates your flow. They're a little delicate, and this guy likes to pop out, okay? But you're going to want to come and make sure they open and close, at least on a weekly basis. And you'll often see shit flying out of the returns. And that's my return pipe right there. And the reason why I have it blowing back is because that's where my protein skimmer input is. Oh, that just looks horrible while it's right there. I apologize. And as you can see, there is the overflow box, which again, you should have the handiest and the dandiest of all tools for your fish tank, the Walmart syringe. And I'm going to take this little hose, which basically sits zip tied and bent around, aimed at this air bubble in the top. Okay. And I'm going to suck the air out, and then I'm going to suck some water through it to make sure the siphon doesn't break. Okay. And the reason why I have to do that is because I'm an idiot. I got water on the first spool, so I don't need to do it twice. And I don't have my protein skimmer set up down in my sump where it should be. I have my protein skimmer for all of my different, I have 4 tanks basically. Half of my tanks. I have it behind my 29 here. And despite the fact that the output is on the side of a divider, the micro bubbles still tend to get caught in that return pump. Because I have most of my flow going to this tank. I have a great deal of return flow going through here, so the bubbles just go right into that overflow pipe. But it's not quite strong enough to suck all of them down just because there's so many damn microbubbles in there. Look, you can just see there's the aqua clear on the back with the fucking GFO in it, and some Flugel Biomax, just media, you know, and that makes more bubbles. So be mindful of that when you have an all-in-one set, or you know, just a one-tank setup, okay, which is probably what you're going to start out with. The microbubbles are going to be everywhere, okay? One good thing about them, though, they kind of help you get rid of the algae when you have to siphon it out. Some of the initial brown, slimy algae that develops when you're first cycling your tank, that'll get taken care of. It'll be it kind of grows differently when there's bubbles. It'll grow with bubbles on it and in it, and then just comes right off the damn rock instead of the stuff that's more tending to stick to the rocks and be stubborn. But anyways, also running carbon while you're doing a cycle can help the stubborn brown algae problem by intentionally causing cyanobacteria. What happens is running carbon in a setup like this, when you're just plopping it in an aqua clear, okay, you're going to wind up having an excessive amount of carbon dust in your system. The carbon dust is going to promote cyanobacterial growth over algae growth, okay? So then the phosphates that are cycling out of the live sand as your first cycles go through, you can help mitigate that process with the carbon, but the carbon also helps mitigate the algae growth by making it, combined with the microbubbles, form cyano pockets that are just, I'm telling you, you take a little guy like this, get you a piece of acrylic straight pipe and custom cut your vacuum attachment basically on the end of it, okay? And there's an air hose. You get that going, clean the rocks right off with that. Clean everything with this. Clean your filter inputs. If it's too big to get sucked up by it, just knock it off of the filter so it goes somewhere else to rot and die. And then toss it asunder. Oh shit. Okay. It didn't knock over the thing that I thought it was about to knock over. Top off Bear's hat. He needs his hat. Otherwise dust gets in his brain. Yeah. I think there's some dust in my brain. Coffee. It's like pledge for dusty brains. With lemon oil. No, not really. Alright. So, you have your skimmer, you have your power head. Power skimmer head. Okay, anybody writing this down, summing up a total? 'Cause I can tell you the eBay prices. $34.99, $24.99. Okay, $35, $25. If you look hard enough, you'll find it. I believe the store was Amazing Fulfillment and Amazing Fulfillment for the CP2. And I think Reef Dot Specialty for the Rio Nano. But it might have been Premium Aquatics. Premium Aquatics for your new Life Spectrum fish food. good deal. But there's some stores where you can learn a lot just scrolling through the store and just checking out the products. Okay. Now, these two things here, secondary expense. Okay, this is to add a sum. All right, $100 plus the sum. $1 per gallon sale, $10. If you get the overflow box for $40, or if you get the return pump for $40, still $100. Now, the other two missing parts of the equation: heating and lighting. Heating is more important than filtration. Okay? A heater and an air stone is the bare basics to keep a fish alive. Okay? Until its poo rots itself to where it just stinks so much it just wants to die. Okay? Ammonia toxicity inflames their gills after the, if you let fish poo just sit after a while, or uneaten food for that matter. But as far as stability, lighting comes third. Lighting is what keeps your water quality from going to shit as far as its pristineness. Okay. If you don't have good lighting, it smells like Skid Row in your tank. Okay. If you have good lighting, it smells like fresh country air. It smells like the fucking beach. Well, a nice beach. A beach far away from any sewer outlets. Or, what do they call them? Fisherman's bins? Where the fishermen dump the fish and fish parts that they can't sell. They're already dead. Yeah. If you ever smelt one of those, oh, you never want to smell anything again. Just kind of just carterize that.
Close it forever. I don't care if I talk like this. I just never want to smell anything again if that's a possibility as far as smells go.
That smells that bad. Getting knocked out. Well, not me. I've never been knocked out. The piece of cartilage got knocked out. It fell later. I was sitting there just like, what the fuck? Fucking blood was dripping out of my nose. Ah! What was... That was hard. That was supposed to be there. Ah! Okay. Anyway. Oh, okay. Fish tanks. Fish, you're welcome. No. Okay. I know. Not funny, Sean. Not funny at all. So, a needle pulling thread. You spend about maybe $40 on the wood. $1 per gallon sale. Tax, $40. Your fish tank, a little $3 heater, a little $3 algae scrubber, comes to about $40. What you got? 25 plus 35 for the power head and the skimmer. You got $60. That's $100. Now, decent heater, about another $40. Decent light, about 120 bucks. The lighting is going to be your first big expense. Okay. But you don't need to buy that light just yet. You can for the whole first year you have your tank. And this will actually help you keep it in mind that your tank isn't ready for advanced shit. Look for they all start with 12 inches. Okay? So search for a 12 inch. You're not going to get a 12 inch. But do the search for 12 inch marine LED light. And it will be one that switches from daytime to blue. Okay. You shouldn't necessarily run the blue lights all night unless your fish live in a cave or in a flower pot. Okay. Or what you can do is have a little piece of cardboard, slide it under there, and have just the lights over the plants showing. Okay. And that'll keep your pH up overnight. And the reason why I was saying the lights are the most important thing as far as water quality goes is that word right there, pH. Okay, that's basically the acidity or basicness of the water. And in saltwater's case is generally a good indication of the alkalinity or the reactive mineral content of the water. Okay. Alkalinity can be tested separately, and if you want to keep like SPS, like if you want to keep anything in the store, you need to test for alkalinity once a week, and then you can keep whatever the fuck you want. Okay, well, as long as your tests are good. That will usually require in a tank setup like this a 10% water change once a week. Okay, so get yourself a pair of 5-gallon jugs. Go to the store once a week. Get one filled with fresh water, one filled with salt water. Good. You don't need to purchase an RODI system like I do. Okay, that's for people with about 100 gallons or more, or for people who don't want to go to the pet store for the quality water. I say go to the pet store once a week, just because. Look around. Take your kids, take a friend. It's fun. I mean, there's aquariums that you pay to go to. And really, there's fish stores that don't have like the giant displays that aquariums do. They don't have the big old fish. But those aren't the pretty fish. As far as the little ornamental fish and corals, there are fish stores that have much better variety and much more to look at than aquariums that you pay to go to. So go to your local fish store. Support your local fish store. Go and hang out with them. Talk to them. Get to know them. Ask them questions. You know? And more than likely, a store owner or a longtime store employee at a marine fish store is going to like the enthusiasm and the perseverance of someone who's getting that top off water and their water change water every week. That person's doing their water change. Oh, hey, they'll have something for you. I guarantee it. They'll have something for you. Hey, you know what? You should try this out. And they'll have a little $20 frag of something beautiful that you'd like. Really? You think I can keep that? Well, yeah, you've had your tank for how long? And you've been doing water changes every single week. Sure. And they'll be proud of you. Most reefers like to see other reefers do well in the hobby. It's like an impulse. It's like a parenting kind of thing. It's like the student has become the master. Yes. The master can now make more money. But that's not really like the whole thing. It's just they're doing it because they love it. and they like the love being spread. It really is that kind of hopper. And, you know, if you can make money doing something that you love to do, that's beautiful too. I can't make money doing something I don't really enjoy doing, but I need to do. Like, the world needs me to do it. You know, I don't want to. But I try to do a good job. I just don't make money doing it. Let's see, what are we making this? Today's readout on the monthly income. Refreshing. $12.89 per month. And on that note, I'm going to hawk a loogie. Yeah. And that's all I have to say about that. Okay. So what are we at here? 60, 100. When you search for the $12 light, 12 inch, it's going to show a 12 to 18, 18 to 24, 24 to 36. You're going to want the 24 to 36. Okay. And it's going to run you probably about 30 to 40 bucks, depending on which store you get it from. There's a generic, just made in China Aquaneat one, and then there's a not so generic, but I think still made in China. I forget the damn name of it, but they're both basically the same thing as far as I can tell. 40 bucks on the made in China will get you one like my Refugium light on the other side that has a little remote control, and the spectrum is halfway decent, but it's still just going to be a temporary thing. Okay. Now, if you have a glass lid, which I highly recommend, that's another $20, maybe $23, $24.99 when you buy your tank. You can get the 18 to 24 inch light, and then when you don't need it anymore, when you get your new better light, you can move that to the bottom tank or save it for a future bottom tank, or you can just use it as a second strip. So $100, $40 for the light, first light, $40 for the heater, let's say with tax, you're probably at about $200. Tax, and if you're shopping smart, a bag of salt and some water. And I recommend when you get your first two jugs, buy the jugs. There you go, buying the jugs. Now you're just over $200. Okay, so you're at about $220. Buy some jugs and get some water from the store. Okay, get your salt water for the first setup from them. Okay, and then get like the last shot you get, you want to get fresh water, because the second day you can do your first little water change. There's going to be just shit floating in the top of the tank and stuff, and you can help the process along by cleaning it out. Mix up a little bit of water with the fresh water you got at a lower salinity, and just top it off and refill it at the same time. Wood, I don't think I counted that in. Wood probably brings it total $250. And then you're under $300 with live rock, sand, maybe some hermit crabs after a week, maybe a damsel after 2 weeks, if you want to have a damsel forever, because they're hard as hell to catch and get out of your tank. Okay. Now let's talk about the expansion. So, it's been a year. You've got your extra light. You've now spent a total of $400. Plus fresh water, plus, you know, maybe you got a little pair of clownfish in there or something by now. You got your Kenya tree. You got you some mushrooms, maybe some glove polyps. The tank's been set up for a year. It's starting to look nice. But you're already at the limit. Yeah, sorry, it's a saltwater tank. You can't put a lot of shit in it. It'll just throw it all off. Whatever will you do? Overflow box. 10-gallon tank. Now, this allows for, obviously, extra water capacity. You get 25% more water, basically. Okay. But the added benefit of having plants and a bottom tank, and you see I have plants in the top tank, that's good too. Okay. But not necessary if you have plants in a bottom tank. And then at nighttime, you keep the bottom tank's light on. And the pH balance, which is affected by photosynthesis, okay. Photosynthesis occurs in corals and in plants, as you already know. And it keeps the pH normalized, okay, which helps keeps the alkalinity, or the reactive mineral content of the water, normalized. And that keeps the corals happy, keeps the water basically stable, keeps everything happy, keeps sensitive fish from feeling stressed out. Okay. It's basically how they get their vitamins in a lot of ways. They will absorb minerals straight out of the water. You know, kind of like drinking Powerade. They're always drinking Powerade. Okay? It's got to have what plants crave. You know, electrolytes. Another $100. You take your old light, put it on a 10-gallon, $40, $40. Go to Home Depot, spend about $10, $15 on plumbing, and then buy a buy another heater too. You can get a nice level of stability and redundancy from having two heaters, one in the top tank, one in the bottom tank. In the bottom tank, you want it to where the heater is being hit by the return flow. You do not want your heater to be near your return pump. Okay, I mean your downflow. Your siphon flow from the top tank needs to be blasting your heater. Okay. Your return pump should be on the opposite side because you don't want spiked heat levels on your pump. Okay. Heat is bad for electronic devices. Okay. The cooler it runs, the better. So while you want that heater warming up the water overall, you don't want its direct heat path going right into that pump, because although that will keep your water nice and warm as it goes through the pipes, bad for the pump. I've seen a very tragic video on YouTube where Wayne of Wayne's Fish World, which I haven't for some reason seen his videos out for a long time, I guess he retired or something, lost his maroon clown, lost a lot of fish because a power head exploded and got the fucking oil all up in the water. One of these kind of power heads. Okay, the newer ones are oilless. Keep an eye out for that. The newer return pumps are oilless. And also these Wavemaker power heads, they are also oilless, much safer. But still, prone to failure, just not catastrophic failure. In the catastrophic failure incidents, when the oil leaked out of one of these, it leaked right into the fish tank. And what I wonder if anybody noticed, he had his heater sitting right next to his power head. So, the heater sitting there, like so, or should I say like so, and that heat was just getting pumped right through this electronic pump. And yeah, you want to have an early failure on something, make it run hotter than it's designed to. Just general rule. Alright. So an extra $100, and we have the basics of our refugium at the bottom. If you had some plants growing in the top tank, you can take them out and move them to the bottom tank. If you got some extra sand up in the top tank, you can just scoop it up, put it in the bottom tank. If you want, you have the option to run just live rock down in the bottom tank, however. And that can make it easier to siphon up detritus from the bottom. That's the way some people go. Or if you want, you can take all your sand out of your top tank and now put it in the bottom tank. And you'll have a nice deep sand bed down there. Okay? And, you know, you can keep sand sifting critters down there and have like a whole different type of ecosystem with some grass growing in it. Or you can simply have the grass that Caulerpa prolifera, for instance, that I keep, will grow right on some live rock just fine. It certainly prefers the sand, but it'll grow up some live rock. Feel free to ask questions and tell me anything that you're wondering about these kind of setups. I do enjoy being able to chit-chat with people online. It's been a hobby of mine since 1991. I first got AOL on Windows 3.0. And really, you know, a fucking BBS server on IBM PS2 running PFM, which I don't even remember what the hell that stands for. There was a operating system of some sort. Just lets you scroll through files, basically. But I find it fascinating that, you know, I'm the great nephew of Dr. Henry Morris, the founder of creation science, basically. I've kind of been involved in the political scene for a couple of decades. My old email list used to get to 65,000 people every single day, and that was through forwardings mostly. I had about 135 actual email addresses that I sent out to people who wanted me to email them, and they would forward it. And I have a friend who is big in the IT business, put a beacon on there and tracked it for me, and he was shocked as shit. Over 65,000 people. And until Facebook's suppression of my Support Ukraine group, I had, in a matter of just a couple of months, grown that to 3,600 group members, followers, whatever you want to call them. But once all this shit happens, once all this collusion and whatnot, election interference, if you want to call it that, once the attack on America started, I'm basically been relegated to what? Live streaming to an audience of whoever's assigned by shift. Pretty much anybody should be able to come on here and live stream and have between 20 and 40 just random fucking people just poking around seeing what they're doing. Anybody. Anybody. Even Bueller. Wait, no. But me, I've actually got interesting shit to say. I've actually got content to provide. I've actually got friends who are not dead yet. Do I pop up in their scroll on Facebook? No. Share the stream every time. Don't pop up on anybody's scroll. None of my fucking Facebook friends know that I shared that shit. I had a website called getarealcomputer.com. And for 17 years, I had first page search results. First page search results. Without paying anybody anything. Okay? When I started doing the Support Ukraine group, Google said my website was spreading viruses. I lost my business because of Google. I thought, you know, just some hacker. It really sucks that Google's flagged me. But now, my search result comes with a warning, and then eventually my search result disappeared. A tank with just plants is a wonderful idea. you can just see what grows out of the live rock. But you definitely want to order some live rock from the internet. That's what gets the ecosystem going. If I was able to ship internationally, I'd offer to send you some. Send you some live rock and some fucking Calerpa. Oh, I could certainly part with some Calerpa. As you can see, I've got plenty. The reason why there's so much in the 10 gallon down there is just because that's what I've harvested and just toss it in there. Yeah, one way definitely that somebody could go with this is going the opposite, or inverse way, I should say, of starting with the 10 gallon. And, you know, you can technically put a 10 gallon on a nice sturdy dresser and then build the stand later. Or you can have your 10 gallon on there and then have storage for your water jugs on either side of it, and, you know, have like a learning working setup. And then, you know, learn the ropes with that. Get the sump going then or later. And once you get like a real feel for the hobby, and once that setup is looking good back in your bedroom or whatever, you can go buy a nice setup from JBJ or a Fluval. Fluval makes an Evo. Search for Fluval Evo Marine, and I think for like $120 to $240 shipped, gets you like a 10 gallon with a filter and a light all included in one. Look on eBay, Sean. There's right now a sale going on a Fluval. I'm not sure what size it is. It's a little tiny tank, okay, but it's all in one with the light and everything for $108. I think it might even come with a heater too. But that's a nice, no headache little tiny setup if you want to just put it on a desk or something. But a tank like that, you're looking at, if you can find dwarf like runt clownfish like I have, which are next to impossible to find, you can get a tail spot blenny once it's really established, if you have like plants and stuff growing in it, in addition to live rock. So you have like a lot of copepods for the tail spot blenny to eat. That's a nice tiny fish. You can keep that with a clownfish. You might be able to keep just a pair of clownfish in there, but you won't be able to have any other fish. You keep 2 little nano clownfish in there with like one other little tiny fish. You know, you can't have a whole lot going on with one of these. You know, I think they're like 5.6 gallons to 12 gallons, something like that. But just one fish, you're fine. Like a little guy, a little friend. Just name him Bob or something. It gets boring pretty quick if you just have plants or something. So you just want to get one fish. But, yeah. Those setups pretty much take care of themselves. If you want to have one that can be used as a sump in the future, you get the 10 gallon setup. Search for that 12-inch light. You can get the 12 to 18-inch light. And 18 inches is how wide those 10 gallon tanks are. So that 18-inch light will work just fine. The 18 to 24-inch light is the one that actually stretches all the way across it. That's the one that I have there. Oh, that's not too bad if everything works and if they actually bothered cleaning it. shady. Anyways. So you got your sump set up now. And you probably want to buy more fish. Now what you can do is you can not connect that sump, and you can use that tank down there to quarantine. But if you're at the $1 per gallon sale and they happen to have two 10-gallon tanks in stock, oh, just go ahead and buy that other 10-gallon tank. Then you have a hospital tank and you have a quarantine tank. Now you can buy more fish. And even if one turns out to be an asshole, you can catch him and you can put him in the quarantine tank. Like, okay, this weekend you're going back to the fucking store, buddy. Because you're an asshole fish. Every now and again, you will find that one of the fish you have purchased is an asshole. Now, myself personally, I just deal with it. I find another home somewhere in another part of another tank somewhere. That's why I got stuck with Smurfette. Blue Devil Damsel. She now lives in my sump in the refugium. So her and Myrtle, well, she basically just constantly harasses Myrtle every time I actually feed the tank. Otherwise, she just gets pissed off because Myrtle's so bad at hunting copepods. Myrtle is a copiapod assassin. You can't see that fucking fish. You just can't see it. Like, I'll be sitting there looking for her, and she'll be right in front of me, and I don't even fucking notice her. Where the fuck did she go? Did she jump out? Oh, shit, there she is. She was, like, fucking sitting there right 4 inches in front of my face, staring at me, like, hey there. I thought you were a piece of fucking algae. Myrtle is an aptasia-eating filefish, a pygmy aptasia-eating filefish. And I think they should be called a cuttle filefish, because they change colors like a fucking cuttlefish. They're awesome. Anyways. So right now, on the bottom right, I'm running my little hospital tank. And I have as featured on the cover of this video, a Picasso trigger, who is just awesome. I fucking love Picasso trigger. That's probably one of my favorite fish. And we have a convict tang, which is freaking adorable. I'm going to go ahead and feed them. See what time is it? Hi babies, are y'all starving? Get some food. Come on, come get some food. Larry, are you eating these pellets, bro? Or are you gonna eat flake food still? Alright, y'all can have some too. Or a He-Man. Get some food, baby. just have time for the big ones. You know, see some fish eat? These fuckers here know how to eat. Oh, let me move all my stuff back on here. Oh.
Hey Tatsuki, hey Machika. There you go, girl.
If she lays eggs, all bets are off. I might try to fucking raise some more fish. I don't know where the hell I'm gonna put the roticultures. I guess I'll just like have to break that down again and put them back there. If she lays eggs, priority. That's $350 worth of fish right there. Those 2 fish. Alright, flake food for Larry. Larry, where's your flake food, dude? Where'd you put your food? Okay, where did I put your food? Oh, it's up there in the box that says food. Okay. That actually makes sense. I wonder who did that. Sure that wasn't me.
Larry. There you go, buddy.
You like the bigger flakes, huh?
Larry, come on, it's okay. There you go, buddy.
Oh, wait, they're eating pellets. I'm not going to give them flake food if they're already on pellets. I will, however, try some grow pellets because they should be more fat.
Come on, baby. Get some food. Yeah, come on. There you go. There you go. Good job.
As wasteful as this is, that fish is too skinny not to keep feeding. It's just eating what it can catch on the plate and then not going any further. That's what I gotta work with. We'll bring y'all down here. That's good enough. See if they like the Thera A better than the Burrow. Doesn't look like he's too enthused about the Burrow.
Come on, baby. Get some food. Come on, girl. Get some food. It's okay. Come on. Fucking food waterfall in there. Oh, good. You eating some calirpa? Come on. There you go.
Alright, I want him to eat more than that, so I'll try some plate food. I'm gonna spoil them rotten because that tang is just too skinny. Oh, they're tearing that up. Totsky is still over here begging.
Come on, Tatsuki. It's okay. Come on, get some food. I know you're not full. Come on, Tatsuki. You want some of these little pellets? Did you like the grow pellets better? Come on. Come on. See if you like these. It's okay. Come on. Ay, una chica. Come on, darling. Over here. Try these pellets. Come on. There you go. Come on. Well, okay, not interested. Let's see if Larry wants some more plate food. Larry! Come on, Larry. It's okay, darling. What you doing? Come on, Larry. Get some food.
Now it's time for the fun part. Cleaning out the quarantine tank. First, we'll have me a little smoke. Alright. So yesterday, this little dude here was, he was attacking the freaking, attacking my siphon hose. It was adorable. So all I do here is scoop this back and set it on top of the aqua clear. Be very careful that both edges are lined up. Still want to be able to see. I'll move that out of my way. Out of my way as I can get it. Now, put the bottom end in the bucket and blow. That way you don't suck up any little drips when you try to start the siphon. Take this side, put it in your mouth. Just get it top over the edge, and then come the rest of the way down. And now you are ready to siphon all the crap out of the bottom of the tank. What I do, quarantining new fish generally, and one reason why I usually plan on doing it in a 5-gallon tank, is I like to scrub the whole bottom to get rid of the termites. And what termites are is that's how ick, the most common fish disease, reproduces. First, I'm going to get all this just piles and piles of money. So wasteful. But that tang is so skinny. I'm just like trying to get it to eat whatever I can get it to eat. And later on, I'll probably buy out some frozen food for it. I've been feeding it like many times a day. Oh, there's some poo. Good, not just food inside me. It's okay. Calm down.
What are you afraid for, Pete? It's okay. It's okay, baby. You can attack it if you want to. I don't mind.
There, you don't know how to go with this shit? What a concept. Try that again, Flo. Come on, take it. Oh, I see. That's your plate, huh? Is that your plate? You don't like when I go on your plate? What about that? Right there? No? What about right here? Put them in your plate. You big baby. Eating your plate. for bucket number 2. And immediately fall into shit. What the hell happened to my siphon? Damn it. So what you keep an eye out for while you're doing this is basically a little grain of sand. You shouldn't have any sand in the tank. Every now and again you might see a little spot that doesn't float away like fish food. It just falls right back. That is more than likely a part of the parasitic reproductive cycle called a termite cyst. It's basically an egg sac. And by ridding the tank of the egg sac, you stop the circular reproduction. And even if you can't get them all, working by the numbers can still keep you from having any sort of an outbreak. Because to a certain point, look at it this way. A fish's immune system might be able to just completely fend off a couple of little spores. So if you can limit it to just a couple, you're doing something worthwhile. Ooh, there's a copepod. So yeah, if you're wondering how well this can prevent or cure ick, Kevin, the little last clownfish, the whole reason he survived was because of this method. This keeps the ick from coming back. And if you can stop it before it reproduces in great numbers, you can keep it from causing health problems with the fish. Most of this dust, it's not ick. I scrubbed the whole floor, and anything that was ick is going to be dense and is going to relatively stay in place and not just float off. It'll float like sand would, maybe even less. There's not a whole likelihood of very many tomites being missed by that siphoning technique. But I do like to be thorough. Sorry, baby. Now, I can't scrub ick off of the plate, obviously. So there's a percentage factor right there. I can make an attempt. And I'm going to. that look like it took? Yep. That just fell right down. Kind of a little tiny white speck just now. Not necessarily it, but you know, could have been. And they might not have an outbreak just because they have one or two. They will have an outbreak if you don't act. He gets really pissed off when I go to the plate, huh? Okay, fine. Alright, now we're done. Nice and shiny. Dry my hands off. Now I'm going to start siphoning from here, from the top tank. Right down like so. And I'm going to not forget about it and overfill this fucking thing. Apparently my fish sucking method is too boring. this sucks. I got a lot more work to do. And now I'm getting hungry. Food isn't even a fucking option for that. That sucks. Well, I guess before I end the broadcast, I could do some news. Zuckerberg is claiming that a spider web should make his pig famous. Oh, well, that's definitely. Zuckerberg's in deep shit. That was the stock market crashing? Oh yeah, Dow Jones is down 371. How about that? No longer a matter. Oh, John Dowd has resigned as Trump's lead lawyer. Wow. It's no longer a matter of whether or not the president, Trump, whether or not the Trump will be arrested or impeached. Just a matter of which charge is going to take him down. Which of the many, many different charges is going to be the one that does it? I think he's going to jail, and I think it's going to be like multiple people, multiple different charges on multiple people, all going to jail for a bunch of different stuff all at once. Trump is now putting tariffs on Chinese shit. I guess we'll see how that goes. Center for Strategic and International Studies is having a dangers of forgetting communism as anti-development. Indeed. I didn't fall asleep again. I'm just taking a break. Wife got me to try Wingstop for the first time. Their barbecue is too salty. I shouldn't have to dip something that's already covered in sauce into more sauce just to be able to eat it. John Dowd, Trump's lead lawyer, just resigned. Play some CNN on that.
Breaking news about a shakeup in the president's personal legal team that is tasked with dealing with the special counsel's investigation into Russian meddling and whether the Trump campaign was involved in any of it. We have just learned that the lead lawyer on the president's team, John Dowd, has resigned. This is huge news. I want to bring in CNN's Shimon Prokupez with us on this. So they had been trying, it seemed, to put a good face on this. Even John Dowd himself here in the last couple of days, as there had been additions to the legal team. Did that mean that some people were on their way out? Did that mean that Dowd was going to resign? It seemed as if there was a pushback on that. We now know that that was very much true, Shimon. And this is huge. This is the top lawyer on the president's team leaving.
That's right. Not only is this the top lawyer on the president's team, but this is the person who the Trump lawyers have given every indication towards, has been communicating with the Mueller team, who has this previous relationship with Mueller. And, you know, to us, to those of us who have been covering this, are not surprised by this move. Certainly, we expect there to be other resignations, other shakeups within the legal team. Some of the members of the legal team took issue with the president's recent hire of this recent lawyer that was brought onto the team. You know, John Dowd this weekend sort of caused a stir after he made some comments to the Daily Beast, then walked them back, basically taking issue with the Mueller investigation. And John Dowd has really been sort of seen this guy who's been communicating with the president, trying to keep things calm, trying to keep the president sort of in line. And this is, though this is not a surprise to many of us, it certainly is going to create some rifts within the team that's ongoing. There are problems on this legal team. We have said so much. We have reported on a lot of that, various views on how the president should be handling the investigation, views on whether the president should meet with Bob Mueller, whether he should be interviewed, questioned by investigators from Bob Mueller's team. But certainly, you know, we know also that the president has been out there shopping, looking for other people to join his legal team. Some people hesitant to join the legal team for a variety of reasons. The president is also just not a very easy client. He's not someone who listens to his lawyers. We've seen that based off of some of the tweets, some of the things he has said publicly to reporters in press conferences, and gaggles. So all of that certainly creates a lot of problems when you have attorneys who are trying to convey a certain message, try to constrain their clients from saying things that could potentially hurt themselves.
And that is, I mean, that's clearly the frustration that John Dowd had, right? I mean, he's someone who seems to adhere to a sort of common sense approach legally. It had been reported that he did not believe that the president should actually sit down with a special counsel. He was clearly worried that this wasn't going to turn out in the right way for the president, although the president has promised that he is going to sit down with the special counsel. So, Shimon, when you look at that, when you look at someone like John Dowd is out, and then you look at a couple new legal additions, one of them being Joe DeGeneva, who has trafficked in a conspiracy theory about the FBI and targeting President Trump. I mean, what does that tell you about the direction of this legal team?
Well, it tells us that, you know, maybe the president wants someone who's willing to more say the things that he wants to be said. I think John Dowd and Ty Cobb, who's the other attorney here, their approach has been to sort of try to keep things peaceful, try to go at it through negotiations. Even Ty Cobb and John Dowd have had differing opinions on whether, at least from our reporting, on whether how much the president should cooperate, on whether the president should sit down with the special counsel. Look, you usually do get these kinds of situations on legal teams when you have so many different lawyers involved in a case like this. You're going to have varying opinions, but it's very rare that we see it play out like this so publicly. There really has been so much intrigue into what's going on with these lawyers, what they're thinking, how they're handling things. But the key thing to bring on is they have an unbelievable task in trying to manage a blind president just can't be managed.
Very good point. Shimon, thank you so much. If you can stand by for us as we dissect this breaking news that the top lawyer on the president's personal legal team to deal with the Mueller probe is now out. Mia Malika Henderson, Michael Zeldin with me to talk about the politics and the legal implications of this respectively. Okay, Michael, this maybe wasn't unexpected, even though we've been hearing pushback, even from John Dowd himself. No, everything's copacetic. Okay, well, it's not. And we saw some legal additions to the team. I think we've even seen this before when it was the Trump campaign, that you would see new additions come in. Nothing to see here, and then the next thing you knew, the campaign manager was gone. Okay, so maybe not entirely a surprise that this happened, but how significant is this to you?
It's going to be clear how significant it is when we keep our eyes on Ty Cobb. If Ty Cobb goes, it means that the president is shifting his strategy, because Ty Cobb and John Dowd, though they differed a little bit, were cooperation, get this over with, there's no there, and let's put this behind us. Joe DeGenova brings a whole different mindset to this. So if Joe now represents the new theory, we're going to fight, we may not submit ourselves to an interview, this is a witch hunt, and Dowd and then Ty Cobb are out, then there's a whole new paradigm.
Also, I just want to, we've just gotten a statement in from Jay Sekulow, who's also a lawyer on the president's team. John Dowd is a friend and has been a valuable member of our legal team. We will continue our ongoing representation of the president and our cooperation with the Office of Special Counsel. The question is, what kind of representation, right? And I wonder, for even people who are in the president's team, in his corner, but maybe worry a little bit about some of his freewheeling style when it comes to dealing with taking on Robert Mueller. Lately, we've seen him really go after the special counsel on Twitter, which was something that was new. I imagine there are people, even very much in the president's camp, who are looking at this shift and they are worried.
Yeah, you would have to be, because the president has certainly changed his tactic. He's hired this new lawyer. It looked like they wanted to hire another lawyer, Ted Olson, who's a very well-respected lawyer. You probably know him better than I would and can speak to him more. But he didn't want to join the team. So it does seem like this is a president who's foregoing this sort of non-aggression pact that he had with Mueller, naming him consistently over Twitter over these last days. We know that the investigation is heating up. We know that the promises that Trump's lawyers made to him that it would be wrapped up soon, that's out the window at this point. So at this point, the president is a very different place, and you imagine that he wants to bring people around him who mirror his very pugilistic style. He looked on TV, he saw Joe DeGenova talking about this conspiracy theory and wanted him as part of his team. So that could be the new tenor of his approach to this legal.
And aside from just the legal approach, even I think of his economic team, right? Where Gary Cohn is out. Gary Cohn was more of a moderating influence on the president's trade views, and the folks who aren't kind of have become a little more influential. Donald Trump is talking about wanting to clean house when it comes to his cabinet and have the team that he really wants. It seems in a way that he's steering not just on the legal matters, but economically and just in general towards a let Trump be Trump.
Yeah. This whole idea of Trump unleashed, and we've seen it as you laid out in any number of areas in terms of foreign policy, in terms of trade, in terms of and Gary Cohn leaving, and the other folks that are more like Trump rising through the ranks. So, it's obviously having implications too on what's very, very serious, this legal matter. And he can have his kind of PR political strategy in terms of wanting to bring these folks in. I don't know how well that Joe's strategy of saying that it's all a conspiracy seriously here, it would actually work legally.
I have to get a break in real quick. We're going to revisit this, of course. Big breaking news that we are following at this point in time. The lead lawyer on the president's personal legal team dedicated to the special counsel investigation of Russian meddling is now gone. John Dowd has resigned. We'll be back with more on this breaking news in just a moment.
What the fuck is this? I don't know, but it's got a tack in it, and it's sitting upside down on the floor, just waiting to stick in my fucking foot. How about that? Flies are back. Flies are back in fucking force. It's like, what else do you do but just fucking scream when you go in to a fucking room and you're just surrounded by fucking gnats? Like, it's just too many to even fucking attack. I just ran out of fucking spray. All I can do is go, ah! Show them my war face. Which in turn isn't other than my fucking toothache. Oh. Fucking pain. Oh, I dared to eat something. See? That's what happens. Can't just go thinking that, you know, bodies require food. Nope. Alright, well, unless somebody feels like chatting, I'm fucking ending the broadcast. I'm too much goddamn pain. So, peace.